This is the Evil Never Dies podcast with Brett and Carl. This podcast may contain adult themes, violence, and strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
The Evil Never Dies podcast.
Welcome back to the Evil Never Dies podcast, episode 204, Carl.
204, yes it is. And I've got new lighting again, so how's everything looking?
Yeah, you look fucking beautimous, brother.
Good, I need to. I gotta be the Hollywood star of this thing.
I'm my same frumpy self.
Gotta do your hair, Brett. You gotta
do my
get all
hair.
Yeah, you see
Do
my
what?
My hair's all done, to see.
Well, I would look like, if I put my bangs down in front of my face, I'd look like Cousin It. So
A lot of people get mad because my sister especially is like,
get
Mama
your hair out of your
like
eyes.
she said, Mama wouldn't like the hair in your eyes. I'm like, I know, but I don't give a fuck. I'm 51 years old. I've got hair and I'm gonna wear it in my eyes now because I comb it back at work, so I can wear it as long as I want in the front.
I think you'd look good with fucking long hair, dude.
I
With,
can't
like,
grow
really
it too long.
With like, they wouldn't let you put it up in a ponytail.
Not at work, no. The county has hair policies.
Yeah.
They used to have beard policies, but now I got a beard, so there you go. I look funny without a beard and all the old pictures of me.
Well, I was looking at somebody, I think your sister posted a picture of you and I don't know, you probably were 17, 18 years old. I would say might have been 25, 30. I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, you look really young in it. So
The grandkids asked how old I was. I said, how old do y'all think I am? They said, about 30. I'm like, no, not 30. I got this line in my forehead. I got to go get some plastic surgery done or something.
oh, bullshit.
I got to keep my youthful appearance up.
You're still,
Now that
you're
we're
still
on this in Hollywood here, I got to keep my looks up.
oh shit.
I need to quit rolling around. Last time I watched the show, I just kept moving around like this and it gave me dizzy. So I need to sit fucking still for a
Got you
change.
dizzy watching it?
Yeah. I'm like, motherfucker, quit fucking swinging back and forth. So I got a new chair, and the new chair actually moves. My old chair was kind of stable, so I'm actually enjoying having a chair that moves. But the last episode, that Terrifier, what the fuck's it called?
yeah,
Art
Terrifier.
the Clown. I kept bouncing back and forth. Look, you can see Chatterbox in green behind me. See all that cool stuff?
Yeah.
Got all my lighting good finally. I'm happy.
Well, good. You're in a good mood tonight. Thank
The
God.
Count Karabi Museum is studio is shining.
Yep, and the Count Karabi haunted house is all put up finally. Thank
Finally
God.
put up. Thank God. The museum, I mean, the cemetery's gone. So, yeah. But the lights are still there. I almost went and turned them on while I was outside. And I'm like, no, I ain't going to do that.
Maybe before it gets too awful cold, we'll have to do a Zoom with everybody, and we'll do it from the haunt.
Yeah. But, yeah, I've been I'm back to normal. Everything's normal again. I've been back at work. It was kind of crazy, but there was this program I was working on that wasn't working right. And I got that all fixed. So work got good. And the haunt's gone, no stress, so everything's good again.
No stress till next year.
Yeah. I've got it figured out. We're running that damn thing 2 nights, 2 Saturdays, and possibly on Halloween. Halloween, it's got to be.
We can just run it on Halloween. We'll just run around and have fun for a couple hours.
Well, the kids like me taking them trick-or-treating now, so I have to do that first.
Well, they'll have to be done by 7.
Okay.
It'll be dark anyway.
It'll be Bubby and Count Karabi running around, probably just us.
Yep. So
My nephew might come. He told my sister, he's like, I'm really worried. I think he's really depressed over the haunt. And she's like, he ain't depressed. He's running around with Kiss the whole weekend. So, yeah. I'm gonna brag about this Kiss thing for a while. I even had to put it on my. I'm turning into the voice of Kiss part 2 here.
the voice of Kiss.
I'm getting pretty bragtitious about it, but you know, Bob's got something to fucking brag about. I'm more proud of him on this than anything he's ever pulled off.
Yeah, I know. That's
Kiss is in their 50th year, and my God, he's doing the fucking announcing for the last however many shows. That's impressive. I'm proud of Bob. And he got me back there, and I had a fun time. So yeah, me and Bob are gonna brag for a while on this one.
Deserve to, man. That's a big deal, dude.
It is a big deal. So shout out to Video Bob, the voice of Kiss. And I'm not making a joke. I'm being serious. We're gonna order the pay-per-view and have it here at the Count Karabi Museum. So if anybody wants to fly into Texas, come on down.
Yeah, let's have a big old party in Carl's house. We'll put a TV out in the front yard.
I was gonna say we only fit about maybe 7 people in the museum room here, so you might have to sit in the other room and listen
on the floor.
Yeah. We've had some pretty wild wrestling parties here in the past, so
yeah, that'll be cool, man.
We'll say our farewell to Kiss. That will be on December the 2nd. So we may actually do the podcast the next day about the final Kiss show.
Yeah.
December 3rd, we will be reviewing Kiss, the final show of Kiss.
Yeah.
So I've already got us a show for December 3rd booked.
All right. That's only like 3 weeks away, dude.
It's close, man. Yeah. I can imagine Gene and Paul are getting pretty nervous right now. And I know all these naysayers, well, they already retired once. Well, fuck everybody. They got rid of Ace and Peter on that farewell tour the first time. And I love Ace Frehley, don't get me wrong, but still. This Eric Singer's been in fucking Kiss for over 30 years. They've existed for 50. So my God, he's been the drummer longer than anybody possibly could have been.
Exactly.
And Tommy's a cool dude. So, you know, I love Ace Frehley, but he's not in the band. He's doing his own thing. So it's the best of both worlds. You got Kiss and you got Ace Frehley. Just like this whole Judas Priest thing. We got Judas Priest and we got KK's Priest. And I'm very happy with the result.
Yeah.
I've been listening
on both ends.
Yeah, the new KK album is really good. And
that new Priest song,
the new Judas Priest song is badass. Panic Attack.
Yeah, that is really good.
It's even got some of that synthesizer in the beginning. So it's sort of I love it when they go back to the synthesizer.
Turbo-esque.
Yeah, I love when they do that. Except for maybe Nostradamus. I don't know. I guess one of these midweeks I'll have to do Nostradamus. I got to get back to my midweeks here soon. Yeah, up next for me is Dream Evil. So
you kept saying you were going to do one when you're on vacation, and
I was fucked up, sick. I think didn't I get sick afterwards? I don't remember.
I don't know. It was just.
I think that last few weeks, that last few days before I went back to work, I wasn't feeling so great. Too much going on.
Too much going on.
Like the Judas Priest song had the Panic Attack. Whoops. Uh-oh, I just dropped something in my lap. It's what? They Live. God. It's They Live, and it's a 4K.
Oh, is that the steel box one?
No, it's not. That's why I got it so cheap.
Oh, okay.
But it did come with a cover, so.
Oh, cool.
So They Live. Hey, didn't I hear that it was the 35th anniversary of They Live?
Yeah, actually on let's see here, November 4th.
Well, hell.
Let's
talk about They Live tonight.
Yeah, well, let's do
John Carpenter's They Live.
Yes.
That is our topic for tonight. And it just
straight off, I'm going to tell you, this is my second favorite John Carpenter film of all time.
Well, that's saying a lot, but I know what your favorite is.
Yeah, everybody should probably know that.
I guess it would be my second favorite. Maybe, yeah, I was going to say Halloween 6, but John Carpenter didn't do Halloween 6. Yeah, it'd be my second favorite too, but my attachment to They Live was Roddy Piper, because back when this movie came out, I was in the wrestling business, basically. And Piper was me and my friend David's one of our favorite wrestlers. So we didn't care what the movie was about. All we knew was Roddy Piper was in a movie and we were going to go see it. And we did. And 35 years later, we're going to talk about They Live. That's
All
your
right.
cue. That's your cue, Bubba.
All right. Directed by, of course, John Carpenter. Screenplay by John Carpenter. Based on a short story by Ray Nelson entitled 8 o'clock in the morning. And I guess this was in a comic book also.
It was? I didn't know that.
Yeah, or what it was one of the stories in a comic book or something.
Gotcha.
Because John Carpenter is a big comic book fan. It was from like the mid 60s or something. So
I think Robert the Doll does things when I'm doing the show because I always hear these noises over to my left side because I notice when I watch the show, I'm always looking over to my left, and I think Robert's doing stuff over here. So Robert is saying hello to everybody. He's a fan.
Hello,
of They
Robert.
Live. He's a fan of They Live, I guess.
All right.
Anyway.
Produced by Larry Franco. Cinematography by Gary B. Kibbe. And cinematography was awesome in this movie.
Oh, yeah. It was great. One of the best.
For as fast moving as stuff was and all the different changes from color to black and white. And yeah. Edited by Gib Jaffe and Frank E. Jimenez.
Gib Jaffe.
Gib Jaffe.
God dang, I like old Gib Jaffe.
He's a good editor.
Yep.
Music by John Carpenter in association with who, Carl?
Alan what's his name?
Hallworth.
Hallworth. Yeah, he did almost every Halloween movie, I think, up until H2O.
Production company Alive Films.
Hey, we've been doing Alive Films for a while now.
And Larry Franco Productions.
They also did Shocker.
Yep.
Did we ever review Shocker?
Yes, we did.
Why do I not remember that?
I don't think it was probably one of our best episodes.
Well, we may re-review Shocker because I have no memory of it, so we may redo it here in another year.
Distributed by Universal Pictures in North America and Carol Co. Pictures International everywhere else.
I think that Carol Co. did the first Terminator and sort of became what's now Lionsgate for the most part.
They all merged like together, but because a bunch of different companies merged into that Lionsgate.
Yeah, they did. But luckily in the United States, Universal has it. So that way we were able to get a great Scream Factory copy of the 4K and the Blu-ray. Because Lionsgate don't let nobody get a hold of their stuff. And they put out their own releases and they're not as good as Scream Factory or some of the other companies. We'll talk about the Blu-ray 4K release later.
All right. Release date, like I said, was November 4th, 1988. 35 years ago, like 2 weeks ago.
So we're a little behind, but we're right on top of it here.
Running time of 94 minutes. Country of origin, United States. English language. Budget was $3 million.
That seems like a small budget for such a movie.
Well, did you end up watching the commentary with him?
No, I wanted to, but I ran out of time. Because I wanted to watch all the extras. So when we got done with the haunt and I did my walk, I came back and watched the extras and then did not have time to rewatch the movie with commentary track.
John Carpenter signed when he signed the contract with Alive Films. He had in there that he wanted creative control, but they put a budget restraint on him. So that's why the budgets for his next 3 movies were so low.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
He did a lot with that budget by far.
And it made 13 million in North America, and most of that was made in the first 2 weeks of of the release. And then
Yes,
after that,
it just fell off the map.
yep, after that, everybody took it out of the theaters.
I wonder why.
What's that?
I wonder why. I'm gonna go conspiracy theory time here. I think the lizard people weren't happy with the movie,
The
so they wanted
lizard
it out.
people.
Yeah.
You know, they should redo this movie and make it lizard people.
Yeah, they could.
I think so. Need to get a hold of somebody and talk about that for sure.
Well, I think this movie, and we don't get political on the show, as y'all know, and I don't get political in general unless you're with me personally. I think a lot of this was based on Ronald Wilson Reagan, is where John
Yep.
Carpenter came up with this.
Yep, exactly. He wasn't a big fan of Reaganomics.
No, so that's sort of, he's still talking about it. Well, I think this came out about 5 years ago, the actual Blu-ray.
2012, yeah.
Yeah. Was it that long ago?
Yep, 2012, 2013.
So the 4K just came out like within the last year, and I just picked it up right before we did the show. So see, I actually got this 4K just for the show. So there you go.
And I got the DVD or the Blu-ray. Yay.
Yay. But you didn't get the cool box.
I don't care.
I do. I collect this stuff.
I can print a box and put it on there, print a cover and put it on there.
You'll forget. You'll forget.
I know. All right, Carl. Why don't you give the plot of this awesome
Okay,
movie?
I actually have a plot. The last 3 or 4 movies we've done were plotless. This has a good plot. So the movie starts with Roddy Piper, who has a name in this movie, but I don't have any clue. I've never known in 35 years what his name was because they never say it. Is basically walk around with a backpack, and they're playing Doom, 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 Doom. That song goes all the way through this movie.
Yes,
So Roddy's looking for work and stumbles across a construction site, and they hire him, and he meets a guy there who says, "Hey, you got anywhere to stay?" He's like, "Well, not really." So they go back to, I guess it's a homeless camp. They seem kind of up-class homeless, maybe.
Well, this is Los Angeles, so
This is Los Angeles in 1987, I guess is when they filmed it.
yeah.
But it's sort of an upscale homeless camp. It's not like in 2023 where the homeless
Oh,
are
they got it
everywhere.
way better now.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, they got electricity and shit now. Well, they had electricity in this too. But
They're pretty good. I mean, they're getting food and everything, but Hot Rod notices that there's something going on at the church. He thinks it's kind of weird. They're like doing choir practice at 4 a.m. And then the TV sets get broke into with a weird, vague message from a gentleman who's warning everybody they've got control over everything. Wake up, see what's going on. So again, Roddy Piper's like, well, something's up here. So he investigates the church a little more and will eventually find a pair of sunglasses, and it reveals some weird shit, really weird shit. And Roddy Piper goes on a quest to find out what the hell's going on. And they live. So there's your general plot without any spoilers.
without any spoilers. Okay. All right, let's go to the cast. Like you said, we got Roddy Piper as John Nada.
They never say that name anywhere in the movie.
Nope.
And plus, he acts like Roddy Piper in the movie. He talks like Roddy Piper. He acts like Roddy Piper. So basically it's
playing himself for sure.
It's the pro wrestler Roddy Piper basically comes to life in this movie and starts hunting down these pale faces or whatever you want to call them. What color are them guys? Are they kind of blue faced?
Sort of like it's sort of like blue mutt. Like it's like us without skin, basically, is what I.
But it's sort of a pale blue color, though.
Yeah.
So they're sort of a pale face.
Sort of like a Dawn of the Dead 1978 zombie color.
It is. It's sort of a pale blue face zombie creature.
They're called ghouls, though. They're not called aliens. They're called ghouls.
Well, they are ghouls. Hey, and I'm wearing a ghost shirt, so I've got the
Ooh,
proper theme, and it's a blue
you're
ghoul ghost
you're,
shirt too.
you're being ghoulish.
Yeah, I didn't even notice I was wearing that till you said ghouls, and I said, "Hey, I got a ghost shirt on here."
All
All
right.
right, so Roddy Piper is the star of the movie, and who's next?
Next we got Keith David as Frank Armitage.
Love that guy.
Yeah, he's awesome, man.
He was also in some other Carpenter movies.
Yep. He was in The Thing.
He was in The Thing.
His first movie role. Next up we got Meg Foster as Holly Thompson. And I had a big crush on her back in the day, boy.
Well, them eyes.
I know them eyes, man. She's got the just
She was sort of a weirdo in this movie, though.
Yeah. Next, we got Raymond St. Jacques as the street preacher.
He did a good job.
He was, I was reading somewhere, he was the first black actor to be in a cowboy movie or some shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's some good trivia, yeah.
George Buck Flower as the drifter collaborator.
All right, I love that. That dude's he's been in everything, man.
Yeah, he was in one of your favorite movies.
What? Blood for Dracula?
Pumpkinhead.
Oh, the other non-favorite. Nah, Pumpkinhead. Thumbs down. Blood for Dracula, thumbs down. Hey, you've hated on more movies than me the last year.
Okay.
You gave The Exorcist Believer a negative 3 zeros, and we didn't even do a proper review of it. It was so bad, but anyway.
Next up, we got Peter Jason as Gilbert. He was like what was he like
sort of the leader of the Inquisition or whatever you want to call him.
Yeah. Next, we got Cy Richardson. All these listed as the Black Revolutionary. That's all they got for
that sounds like a pro wrestling name from the 80s right there.
No shit. Next, we got Susan Blanchard as Ingenue. Norman Aiden as the construction foreman.
What he's the guy that told Roddy Piper, "You can't sleep here."
Yeah, there's he only had like 2 scenes.
Yeah.
And Carrie Rossell as second unit guard. Whatever that was.
Yeah.
Very small cast.
There was a kid that Roddy Piper pulled out of the riot. I don't know who he played him.
A kid he pulled out what?
Well, it was kind of a teenager. It was like he was sitting there shaking, and Piper grabbed him and got him out of the.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who played that guy.
Yeah.
Unlisted extra, I guess.
All right. Well, why don't you go over the DVD the Blu-ray 4K info that you got?
So this thing came out originally, of course, back in the day on VHS. Then it came out on DVD. Then it came out on a Universal Blu-ray, which was sort of a crappy copy. Well, finally, the Scream Factory got a hold of this thing. I guess it's been 10 years ago now, and put out an excellent Blu-ray, which for some reason, I think I gave to David, and he never brought back to me. So I had it on Vudu, but I didn't actually own a proper physical copy of it. So about a year or so ago, they put out the Scream Factory's going back in 4K and everything now. And when they do that, they basically give you the DVD and the 4K video.
And a digital copy.
Well, not always a digital. But I'm going to tell you what, this was one of the best 4K releases that I've seen. The movie looked great in 4K. You could almost see like the slime on the ghoul, pale-faced blue people's, like they had a slime on them. I've never noticed that before until I watched this 4K. So it's a very good copy. Scream Factory, as always, does an outstanding job. There's a lot of good extras. They actually put some new extras out, which was one's an interview with John Carpenter. One was an interview with Meg Foster. Then they did a Keith David actually talked, and he was talking a lot about the infamous fight scene, which we'll talk about soon.
Yeah.
And they actually did a kind of a retrospective of the movie. And they actually, the coolest thing ever, the commercials that are in this movie, they actually have them on the Blu-ray or the 4K.
Yeah, I know.
So
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool thing. And there is a commentary track with Roddy Piper and John Carpenter that, like I said, I did not get to.
And there
I
radio
just got this
spots
thing
on there
last
too.
night, so I was lucky to even get to watch it in the 4K.
Isn't there radio spots on there too?
There are some radio spots.
Back when they did radio spots for
Yes,
movies.
they are. So I give this Blu-ray 4K release 5-star by far. It's another one of Scream Factory's outstanding jobs. If you don't have a 4K player, the Blu-ray's still available and cheaper now. But this 4K was excellent. It was one of the best 4K releases I've seen, and it's in Dolby Atmos even. So sounded great, looked great. Thumbs up to Scream Factory once again, as always. They delivered the goods, to quote Judas Priest. Yes, I've been listening to Judas Priest all week, so delivering the goods is at the top of my head right now.
Well, I watched it on Prime, and they got it on there for 4K, and I watched it in 4K. And you're right, it did look great in 4K.
I thought it was really good in 4K.
You could really tell that Roddy Piper had makeup on, though, for sure.
Well, you know, Roddy Piper didn't have the best face for acting. I mean, he had a lot of scars on his face, and he had a lot of pock marks, I guess you would call it. What does this say? I got a beep. Hold on. Keep talking, Brett. I got to plug in my camera.
Oh, no. Your phone's...
No, that's fine. It just hadn't been charged in a while. Hey, you're supposed to be talking.
I'm watching your hand.
Talk, motherfucker, talk. There, we're plugged in now.
But
since you didn't talk, I'll go back to what I was saying. Yeah, Roddy, you know, was a wrestler, and he'd been in wrestling since he was like 16, 15 years old, and his face was pretty beat up. So yeah, they did put a lot of makeup on him, and he was a working man's actor there. You know, he wasn't all Hollywood pretty.
No, he wasn't.
And I will never, for my life, understand why Roddy Piper never got another legitimate acting job after this, because he absolutely killed in this movie.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he should have won an award for something. Although he was just playing Roddy Piper, the wrestling character, which is actually Roderick Toombs, the man. His character was him. And in this, he plays himself, but I don't know. I know he was in some dumb movie called Hell Comes to Frogtown that me and David was really disappointed in after They Live. But yeah, you could see Roddy's face pretty close up in the 4K. It just shows you how great the 4K format is, and it's become now that they've mastered it. In the early days, some of them releases were pretty crappy, but they've got this down now. You just got to have a good TV to see it.
Yeah, he was a little pink.
Little pink.
But yeah, he did do a great job in it for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was an excellent job, and I really thought Piper was going to become a big star, but he honestly never did in Hollywood.
No, I know.
He should have been the first Dwayne Johnson. Or I would say Hulk Hogan, but all of Hulk Hogan's movies were shit except for Rocky III. Hogan was a terrible actor.
Well, I don't think no other wrestler has had a #1 movie at the box office for two straight weeks. I don't even think The Rock has.
I don't know. John Cena, maybe. He was in some of those DC movies. Batista was in the Marvel stuff, so I don't know. We'll give Roddy credit. He was definitely the first. He may not have been the last, but you know, Hogan was supposed to be Hollywood Hulk Hogan, but to me, Roddy Piper paved the way for wrestlers becoming Hollywood actors down the road. I give all the credit to Piper for that. Terry Funk was in a few movies, but not as a star. So Dwayne Johnson, John Cena, and Dave Batista, you're going to have to give the cred to Hot Rod, because he was the first legitimate actor, maybe.
Ooh, I made that a little strong.
Yeah, mine's strong too. I haven't drank anything strong in a week or two anyway.
Made that way strong.
You're going to be drunk before the show ends.
I'll be good.
Yeah.
All right. You want to talk about the fight scene?
We'll both talk about it.
Okay.
So anyway, what are we about halfway in the movie or a little bit maybe midway through somewhere around there? Roddy Piper decides he's going to show his buddy what these sunglasses show, if that makes any sense, which is the blue pale-faced ghouls, but he don't want to put the glasses on. I ain't putting them motherfuckers on. So Roddy Piper and him basically have the longest fight scene in the history of Hollywood since, I guess, John Wayne was around.
Exactly.
And this thing is choreographed to the core. They actually brought in a fight choreographer. Then Roddy Piper was like, well, I can use some wrestling in it, but he legitimately said, I don't want to hurt anybody because, if you don't know how to do pro wrestling, you can get hurt. So,
Yeah.
Brett, how long did John Carpenter say they trained for this thing?
John Carpenter said that they trained for it for a month and a half behind his headquarters, his office headquarters,
Which is where they filmed it.
which is where they filmed in Los Angeles. Did we mention that this takes place in Los Angeles? Yeah, I think so. But anyway, but Keith David said that they only practiced for 2 weeks. So, who's right?
We'd have to go to Hot Rod, who's sadly no longer with us, to find the truth out.
But John Carpenter, that's how he got Roddy. He met Roddy at WrestleMania 3.
Yes, he did.
And that's how Roddy got on board, because he thought he's like he's the guy,
Yeah,
he's the guy out of the story.
he is. Roddy Piper, I mean, I could talk all night about Roddy Piper's life and his career, but he had a shitty life growing up.
Yep.
It was a rough life, and Piper had been stabbed, he'd been run over, he'd been shot. He had a lot of crap go on, and he was wrestling when he was like 15, grown men. So, Roddy Piper is not one of those guys that was an overnight sensation like Hulk Hogan, was
Rock.
Yeah. So Roddy lived a rough life, and this character I think he did relate to a lot, because Roddy Piper was homeless for real in his real life. So,
Yeah.
But the fight scene is absolutely one of the greatest fight scenes in the history of movies, if not the
I
best.
think it's the best myself.
Probably the best. There's a lot of pro wrestling going on. There's a little bit of boxing in it. Yeah. They beat the shit out of each other, but my God, would you have beat somebody up just to make them look through sunglasses? I don't know.
If you notice, he does 3 suplexes.
Well, I think John Carpenter requested the suplexes.
Yep, and Roddy said, well, which kind do you want?
Yeah.
And he's like, pick 3. So
yeah,
there's 3 different suplexes that he did in this fight scene. And it's like 6 minutes long or some shit.
And Carpenter said he wasn't going to cut any of it.
Yeah, it was supposed to be 20 seconds originally, and it ended up being like 6 minutes long. But there's like breaks for like a few seconds for dialogue and stuff. It's really awesome.
They do break it up, and like, you need to put these glasses on. And he's like, no. And then at one point he like hits his car with a stick and breaks the windshield. Like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, he thought it was his car.
Yeah. But they beat the living shit out of each other in this fight scene. And legitimately, I think they pretty much knocked each other around a lot too. So,
well, all the throws and stuff were real for sure.
So finally, when they get done with the fight scene after all this time, they go to this, I guess, kind of a squatter's hotel or whatever, and we need a room. Yeah. And magically they clean up, and they're not really bruised up the next day. So
when they go in the motel, their faces, they're all swollen and shit.
Yeah. And Roddy also got thrown out of a window at one point and rolled down a hill. So yeah, his character gets his ass beat in this.
Yeah.
And you did notice they had to take Piper's shirt off several times in this to show off his muscles, which, sorry folks, that was all steroided. Roddy Piper never had a physique like that before.
You think?
It was 87. Everybody was doing steroids but me, I think. I weighed like 80 pounds in 1987. I was skin and bones.
80 pounds and 88.
Probably so. I might have been 88 pounds in 88.
Oh shit.
Somewhere there's a picture of me, and I am so skinny in it that it's scary. And Roddy Piper was always sort of just a normal man's physique, but in this movie, he's all Hulk Hogan up, muscled up,
six pack and all that.
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, best fight scene, man. I remember when I seen it in the movie theater, I was like, oh my God, it just kept going on and on and on. It's like, this is fucking awesome.
Well, that's what me and David was wanting to see, was Roddy Piper fighting a movie. So yeah, it was perfect for us. We loved it.
It's fucking great.
It's still great.
Did you see this in the theater?
Yes, we went and saw it in the theater. Of course we did. That was one of our favorite wrestlers. And like I said, we thought he was going to go back to the NWA after this. Well, I guess we thought he was going to be a movie star, since that's what he was claiming he was going to do. And then came Hell Comes to Frogtown, and then Piper's career sort of bamboozled back. And one of the best memories of Piper after They Live was him and Goldust. You remember the wrestler Goldust?
Yeah.
Dustin Rhodes.
Dustin Rhodes, yeah.
They had a Hollywood back alley fight, which is one of the greatest wrestling fights. It sort of reminds me of the fight scene in They Live, actually. And the Goldust actually runs Roddy Piper over in it. And then Piper is going to try to hit the windshield, and he actually broke his hand during that thing. So then they got Goldust jumped in a white Ford Bronco, and Roddy Piper jumped in his car, and they were chasing all through. I think they were in LA for this. So it was a Hollywood backstreet brawl. So they had an OJ-like chase scene. So they finally showed up at the arena and beat each other up.
This was WCW?
No, this is in WWE.
Oh, okay.
Goldust versus Roddy Piper. It reminded me a lot of this.
What year was that?
I don't remember offhand, but I think the They Live fight scene inspired Vince McMahon to do that match or brawl or whatever you want to call it.
Huh.
So
Vince stole it off John Carpenter.
He stole it off of John Carpenter, and it was, yeah, I mean, Roddy Piper actually got run over in it. So a lot of good choreography for that as well.
Well, and Roddy he quit the WWF to make this movie.
Yeah, he retired at WrestleMania 3 to go to Hollywood, and he would eventually come back. I mean, he did that thing with Goldust, but I don't think he was a full-time wrestler at that point. He did a lot of announcing, and he would eventually come back to wrestling full-time, but he never had the impact he had after he had left. I mean, Piper, you know, if it wasn't for Roddy Piper, there wouldn't have been no damn Hulk Hogan. I know I'm dogging on Hogan a lot tonight, but, you know, he wasn't my favorite person. He still isn't. You can't have a good guy without a great bad guy. And Roddy Piper was the bad guy that made Hulk Hogan what he was. So I can never praise Roddy Piper enough. He's one of my favorites of all time. And this They Live was just perfect for him. I mean, even if it was his only real Hollywood hit, it was perfect. Piper did an outstanding job in this movie.
Yes, he did.
And I think he could have done it.
I think people were surprised how good a job he did.
I will never understand how he didn't get another good, legitimate starring role. I don't get it.
Yeah, I know.
I never got it.
He should have been the next action fucking hero, man.
He should have been. But again, it goes back to the fact maybe he just didn't have the face for it. I don't know. You know, back in the 70s,
that's what plastic surgery is for, brother.
Well, back in the 70s and 80s, I'm giving kayfabe away here in the wrestling business. They used to blade, they called it. They would actually have little razor blades on their fingers, and they would cut themselves and cause the blood, and they would take aspirins, and they would bleed like stuck pigs, but it didn't hurt. But unfortunately, it left scarring behind. And some of those guys from that era, their faces were awful looking because of the blading. And Roddy was one of them because, you know, he was a territory guy.
Blood makes money.
They would the promoters would tell them, well, I want juice tonight. So they would tape up the razor blades and they would cut themselves. That was part of the business in the 70s and 80s. So a lot of those guys got scarred up. I mean, it just absolutely disfigured some of them. Like Dusty Rhodes was one. His entire face was scarred up.
Yep. Yep.
All right, what do we got next?
Let's go over some trivia, man.
There's probably a shit ton of trivia for this movie, I would
Pretty
think.
sure there is.
You know, this movie has become one of the great cult classics of all time.
Yep. For sure, man.
My buddy Paul Burkett at work, he's a big fan of this movie, and I actually told him, well, you can call in and give some commentary. And he said, oh, I'm camera shy. I don't want to be on the show, but he's gonna be watching tonight. So shout out to my buddy Paul Burkett. He's one of my best friends at work, and he loves They Live. So
cool, man.
And he is hard to please. This guy, about 90% of the movies he sees, he doesn't like, but he loves They Live. So this is for you.
Is he a wrestling fan too?
Yeah, he used to watch it back in the day.
All right. John Carpenter brought real homeless people in for the production for several scenes and smaller characters.
Now that's pretty damn cool, actually.
And I guess that homeless camp was basically real. And he brought in all the food, and he also gave paychecks to everybody. And Roddy Piper
Carpenter on that.
Roddy Piper said he thought it was a pretty classy thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I was a young teenager in the late 80s, but I guess the economy wasn't as great as it was as we remember it back then. I don't know.
Well, it wasn't. That's when they started closing down all the factories and shit.
Yeah.
Then that's when Detroit and all that up there got wrecked. Started getting wrecked.
Are we blaming Ronald Wilson Reagan for all this, like John Carpenter did?
I don't know, man.
Me either.
Who knows?
All I remember, Reagan used to give good speeches, and he was the giver. That's about all politically I got to say about it. And he said, well, all the time. Well, I want some jelly beans there, Bubba. I can't do a good Ronald Reagan voice. Sorry.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Isn't
that the truth?
All right. Okay. Back again. This is probably one of the most famous movie quotes of all time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Give me the story on that.
The line, I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
Such a Roddy Piper line.
Well, he had a bunch of stuff written down in a notebook that he was going to use for wrestling, for his shtick, you know, in the
Roddy Piper gimmick. Huh?
Yeah, and that was one of them. He gave the book to John Carpenter and said, here, pick some of this stuff out, you know?
Yeah, because Piper would come up with some crazy shit in his day.
Yep, and that was one of the lines, so he told him to use that.
Like one of his famous lines was, just when you think you know the answer, I changed the question. That was Piper was such a genius. But yeah, the bubblegum line, yeah, that is definitely great. It makes me smile thinking of that.
Now the guy that did the fight scene, the what do you call it? Choreographer or whatever.
Yeah.
He also played like 90% of the ghouls in this movie.
Yeah. I heard that today. He was the ghoul.
Yeah, he was the women ghouls. He was the men ghouls. He was all the
pale-face, blue-face ghouls.
Most of the ghouls, yeah. So let's see here.
You know what universe these ghouls came from?
What?
The universe they came from, or the galaxy they were from.
Nebula or something, wasn't that?
Andromeda,
yeah, that's it.
I caught that while I was watching the movie again.
Yeah.
Beaming back to Andromeda.
I almost had it.
You were close. You said Nebula.
All right. Roddy Piper, being a married man at the time of the filming, refused to take off his wedding ring. So
I noticed that.
You could see his wedding ring on in a lot of the scenes.
Roddy was married to the same lady his whole life. Yeah, he got a lot of kids. Even though he lived a wild wrestling lifestyle, and all of them did back then, he was sort of a family guy from what his kids say. You know, when he was home, which was hardly ever, he was a good dad, they said. So loyal dad, good husband, or loyal husband, good dad. I guess I got that reversed. Sorry. Look at this ghoul. He kind of reminds me of a They Live ghoul back here in
Sort
the
of a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Put some
What the
blue
fuck?
on him, maybe.
He's one of them pale-faced ghouls back here looking at me.
In one of the scenes, one of the alien TV broadcasters refers to the director by name, John Carpenter.
He mentions John Carpenter.
The alien commentators, who look a lot like Siskel and Ebert, are complaining about sex and violence in the media. And the dialogue breaks off with the words, filmmakers like George Romero and John Carpenter
Okay, I caught
have
that.
to show some restraint.
They needed to, yeah. Because if you're a pale, blue-faced ghoul, you want everything to be for you. By God.
Many of the movie posters that were released featured a long blurb that read, you see them on the street, you watch them on TV, you might even vote for one this fall.
Yeah.
You think they're people just like you. You're wrong.
Yeah, they're
Dead
actually
wrong.
Ghouls. They were blue ghouls.
Blue ghouls. Let's see here. John Carpenter was so impressed with Keith David's performance in The Thing and needed someone who wouldn't be a traditional sidekick but could hold his own. So he wrote that whole part for Keith David for this movie.
You know, I just froze up for a minute. I don't know what happened.
He did. Your internet screwed up?
I don't think so. But he did a great job in the movie. I think he didn't get the credit that Roddy Piper got, but he should, because he did a great job.
Yeah, he did.
I think Robert's messing with stuff again over here.
Robert, it's okay. Settle down, buddy.
There's been some weird stuff going on in the house. I'm going to have to talk about that one of these nights.
Roddy Piper states that John Carpenter jump-started the wrestler turned actor migration.
He did. I just said that, didn't I?
Yep. It was the first wrestler. I was the first wrestler ever in history of wrestling to star in a major movie motion picture that became a #1 box office the first weekend it was open. That gave the itch to I don't know how many wrestlers. Yep. So.
And of course, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson becoming the most popular former wrestler turned actor of all time. John Cena's catching up to him, and so is Dave Bautista. So
yep.
Poor old Cena just came back to wrestling during the Hollywood strike because he was bored.
Well, Cena caught all kinds of shit because of that apology to China shit that went on there.
Nobody cared about that.
I don't know. A lot of people gave him shit about that. I remember.
Well, The Rock got a bunch of shit because he tried to get people to donate to Hawaii. I never did figure that one out.
Yeah, I know.
And Batista's always saying some shit to piss people off. So I guess, you know, it is what it is with the wrestlers turned actors.
John Carpenter and Roddy Piper both have a problem with authority.
Oh, yes. I know Hot Rod has a problem with authority. That was his entire fucking wrestling career was built off of.
John Carpenter says he had a adolescent hatred of authority. I've never gotten over it since I was a kid. And Roddy Piper said, ask me for my shirt off my back and I'll give it to you. Tell me to give it to you, and not a chance in the world.
Yeah. Like I said with Piper, if you watched wrestling in the 80s, you pretty much saw the real Roddy Piper. That wasn't a gimmick. That was him. Sort of like Stone Cold, later day. Once he becomes Stone Cold Steve Austin, that was actually Steve Austin. Everything else he portrayed prior to that was a gimmick. So Piper fought authority and yeah, big time. You're right. This might have been John Carpenter's greatest achievement and moment, this movie. Even more than Halloween.
I'll have to
I ain't saying it's a
disagree with
better
you
movie
there.
than Halloween. I'm just saying it might have been a better accomplishment.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Somebody
Let's see
pulled this
here.
movie got the pull. Somebody pulled some plugs on this after that 2 weeks. There's some controversy going on there. Rebel people or reptile people did it.
Yep. The original role of Nada was originally written for Kurt Russell.
Well, that would have been fucking terrible.
Yeah, it would have.
Fuck Kurt. I don't like him, man. We talked about that one night and you got mad at me, I think, because I don't like Kurt Russell.
I like him in some stuff. Captain Ron.
Nah.
But John Carpenter felt that he should cast somebody else after casting Russell in 4 of his films prior to
That's
this.
what I was going to say. He'd been in too many Carpenter movies as is.
Yeah. But yeah. So he gave Kurt Russell a break there. And it
Thank
probably
God.
would have been shit.
He could not have pulled that role off like Hot Rod.
It would have been Snake Plissken fucking fighting the aliens, is what
It would have been.
Exactly. John Carpenter's still fascinated that this film opened at #1 at the box office.
I am too, honestly. It was surprising.
Let's see here. What else do we got? Oh, they originally scheduled this to open on October 21st, 1988. But guess what other movie was opening that weekend?
I know what it is, but I can't think of it.
Halloween 4, The Return of Michael
It
Myers.
was Halloween 4.
They
so
didn't want to
Carpenter
compete with it, so he waited a week.
He can't compete with his baby
2 weeks,
Michael Myers.
Yeah, exactly. That he had nothing to do with.
Nothing to do with.
Except the music, I think, is the only thing that he had to do with.
Well, and by that point, that Alan, whatever guy, took over all the soundtracks. What's his name? I always forget that guy.
Hallworth.
Yeah.
But still, it was John Carpenter's baby. He still had his name attached to it, I think,
Yeah.
for the music. So,
yeah. Well, he wrote the theme song, so yeah.
In the opening shot of the movie, the opening scene of the movie, you see the train rolling by.
Yep.
For that train to roll by cost them $12,000.
Of their low budget already.
Yeah. And they had to do it twice because of a technical area. So it cost them $24,000 for the train to move 300-400 feet.
I was going to talk about the soundtrack for a second.
Yeah, let's talk about the soundtrack.
So my friend David again.
It's basically the same thing the whole time.
Yes. And David went and bought the CD of this and was pissed off because it's the entire fucking song, the same song all the way through it. Everything's the same. There's no change whatsoever, except it's a little more upbeat in places and a little low beat in places.
Yeah.
But David was like, this is the damnedest soundtrack I've ever heard. And I agree with him. It's a good song, but my God, it's the same god dang song. And I sent you the link. It's on Apple Music.
I pulled it up.
So we can listen to the same song for fucking 40 minutes now over and over and over again on Apple Music.
It's a 3-note fucking
dumb. That's the note.
It's a blues beat is what it is.
It's not a good soundtrack. I mean, honestly,
it fits the movie.
It fits the movie, but if I have to give the soundtrack a rating,
Roddy Piper walks.
That's how he made it. Yeah.
It's like he's walking, and that's the way he walks. That's the same.
Doom. Doom.
Exactly.
But the soundtrack has to get about a 1.5 or 2 because it's just the same song over and over again. It's a cool song, but when David bought that CD, he was a little pissed back in the 1980s.
On an episode of Monster Vision in 1991.
Wasn't that Joe Bob Briggs?
I think so, but this
so,
episode was in 1997. That must have been on the air for a while.
It was. It was on like TBS or TNT or one of those channels.
Well, anyway, Roddy Piper mentioned that John Carpenter had wanted him to discuss the film's political subtext, which was critical of Reaganomics, while doing promotions for the film. However, due to being in the United States on a green card, he figured he better not do that.
He better shut up, yeah.
Because Roddy Piper's from Canada.
No, he wasn't. He's from Glasgow, Scotland, damn it.
Well, he was raised in Canada.
He's from Glasgow, Scotland. Don't kill the kayfabe, dude. Actually, he was cousins of the Hart family, he said. So
yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, he's somehow related to the Harts. And so Brett said he never could figure out how, but Piper always told him that. So I don't know. But he's from Scotland, damn it. Roddy Piper is from Scotland. You know, he used to play bagpipes when he came to the ring. He actually learned how to do that.
I remember that. Yeah. That was back in the good old days.
It was.
He'd play him coming out. That was basically did his own entrance music. All right. John Carpenter recalls an early screening at Los Angeles City Walk where a young kid exited the film seemingly confused with what he had seen. He had been brought up with Rambo films, he says. He was expecting it to be gingeristic and rah-rah, and it bothered him a little. At that point, the film was instead an idea of the class divide. I could see that. A kid back in 1988 that, watching nothing but the Rambo type movies and Terminators and stuff like that, and then going and seeing this. But like I said, I'm surprised that Piper wasn't a big action star after this.
I will never understand why his career, like I said, it's been a mystery to me throughout time. Now, don't get me wrong, Piper was in a lot of movies, but he was never a lead starring actor ever again after this. To our big budget movie. I don't understand. Now, I do know Roddy Piper was not the easiest person to work with just from his wrestling career. So maybe he was too hot-headed for Hollywood.
The only character given a first and last name is Holly Thompson, played by Meg Foster.
Yeah.
Did you know there was a conspiracy theory about Roddy Piper in this?
What's that?
His shirtless scenes.
Where he's buffed on steroids.
The rumor was that you had taken my head and put it on someone else's body, like they photoshopped it.
Yeah, because Piper didn't have that kind of a body in pro wrestling in
the
80s, so I could see that.
And John Carpenter was like, what are you talking about? There wasn't nothing done like that.
No, just some steroids.
A little
bit of cocaine, probably. A little bit of blow and roids. That was the 80s.
Roddy Piper didn't actually like his performance during the scene where Nada and Frank talk post-fight in the motel room.
I didn't like that scene either. It seemed sort of unbelievable.
Sort of like, yeah, it was different. Let's see, what else do we got here?
I don't know. We've been going for a while here.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff here, man.
Yeah, we can't talk all night, though.
All right. The abandoned, overgrown locale where the homeless camp is still undeveloped. It's still just a lot.
Wow, that's not very interesting. That should be the end of trivia, I think.
That's the end of trivia.
Yeah. You just blew the bottom out with that one. Nobody cares about the lot.
Blew it out.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's homeless people still there. I'm sure there's twice as many tents as there were back in 1988.
The entire city of LA is full of homeless, I think, now.
Yeah, they're up to like they gain like 50,000 a year. There's like 150,000.
They're everywhere, man.
That's just
We're not
in
going
the
to get
city.
political here, but there's more homeless now than I've ever seen in my entire existence of 51 years.
Oh yeah, we got people living underneath the bridge down here, the on Riverside and 121.
Yeah. They've outgrown the Lancaster corridor and they're all over the city now.
Yes, they are. They just roam like zombies.
I'll blame it on COVID because I blame everything on COVID. That's a good non-political answer. It's COVID's fault. We'll leave it at that. Damn it. COVID.
All right. Well, I guess that's all we got for They Live.
Yeah.
What are you gonna rate this?
I gotta give now after 35 years of watching this movie, and I watched it again last night in 4K, it still has the same effect on me. It's aged very, very well. It's a great movie, and it's one of my favorite John Carpenter movies, probably besides the original Halloween. I'm gonna give They Live a 4.7 rating of 5. 4.7 blue pill alien face ghoul people.
Blue pill.
Yeah, of 5. So this is almost a 5, but I'm gonna give it a 4.7.
Okay.
There's really not anything bad I can knock this movie on, except maybe the no, there's nothing. Nothing bad. It holds up well. It's aged extraordinarily great.
Okay.
And actually, in this day and age, I think the subject matter is more relevant now than it was in 88, 89, whenever
Exactly. A lot of it's like what's really going on right now.
Yeah. So yeah, this movie has not lost a step.
Was
It
it
is 4.7.
Could it be a prediction from 1988?
You think the blue pale ghouls are running the world?
You never know. You never know.
Well, maybe we'll have the blue pale faces versus the orange people in next year.
They say that's what's going to happen. They say that they're going to fake an alien invasion.
I hope the hell they do. That would be awesome.
But anyway, I seen this movie. I just got out of the army when this come out.
I thought you were gonna say you just got out of the shower.
And I seen this movie when it first came out. I think I seen the commercial on the TV, one of the many that they had.
It was very promoted, especially in the NWA WCW wrestling promotion, since I guess McMahon didn't want nothing to do with it.
But anyway, I actually seen this in the theater back in the day, and it was great back then. Especially the fight scene, man. That thing gets me every time. It's just unbelievable. I'm gonna be right up there with you. I'm gonna give it a 4.6.
I gave it a little better than you.
Probably the soundtrack did it for me with that.
Yeah, the soundtrack sucked, but it fit. But you don't want to buy the CD, or you don't want to get it on Apple Music and listen to this song over and over and over again.
I think they could have done way better with the soundtrack. They could have been a little bit more upbeat with it. Especially,
I'm not going to hold the soundtrack against it, but I agree. But I do agree with you on that.
But I expected more from a John Carpenter. I expected more out of John Carpenter.
Yeah, I agree with you all the way there
for sure. So
that's the only bad thing you can find. That's pretty fucking impressive, really.
That's the only thing bad I can find. Everything else was awesome.
It holds up absolutely. It's better now than it was in the 80s.
You know, and they did it in the anamorphic film.
They did, yes.
You could just the wide shots of Los Angeles and stuff from up in the hills and stuff like that. Great cinematography.
This may be one of the highest rated movies that we've ever done on the Evil Never Dies podcast and YouTube.
It's a good movie, man. It's a good movie for sure.
No
but-
arguing tonight from us. We're both on the same page.
Exactly.
But you know, it's funny because we know there's a couple movies that we both are sort of avoiding because we love them so good, i.e. Evil Dead 2. But this one, I wasn't sure what you were going to think about when we started bringing it up. So I don't know how we're ever going to do Evil Dead 2 because that movie's just perfect, man.
We'll do it. We'll do it like we did this one.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sure
like I said, I didn't know you were going to be a big fan of this movie at first.
Well, how do you know I'm a big fan of Evil Dead 2?
You're a big fan of Evil Dead 2. Don't lie. Don't lie.
All right.
And goddamn, I'm not doing that fucking trick or treat or whatever it's
Trick
called.
or treat?
Trick or treat. The only trick or treat is Sammy movie.
You owe it to Gene Simmons to do it, man.
I
Fuck.
do not. Gene doesn't like that movie.
You owe it to Gene.
You owe it to Ozzy not to do it. Anyway, we've rambled on. This went on a little bit long tonight, but the last few weeks we've had short episodes. The Terrifier, we didn't have any content for it.
No.
Then we were doing the haunt, so this is finally kind of back to normal. I think this week I'm pretty happy with the result. Although we didn't have much to critique because it's a goddamn perfect movie, and the Blu-ray is absolutely extraordinary, and it is a steel book if you want one of those. I mean.
Yeah, $25 on Amazon for the steel book.
Well, I got this one for cheaper, so there you go. Whenever we do a real time with Jimbo and the crew again, we're going to talk about physical media and streaming. That's going to be our topic for that because
it's your turn to.
Best Buy is about to quit selling movies, and I'm really pissed about that. So, Jimbo, if you're listening. We got a topic. I'm ready to jump. Whenever y'all say jump, I've got some topics to get into.
I heard Best Buy was going to do their own streaming thing.
They tried that already and failed.
I heard they're going to revamp it and try it again.
They're never going to get anywhere.
Yeah,
Voodoo is the only one that survived that.
That's about like CNN Plus.
Yeah. Voodoo is the only one that survived that whole early days of streaming thing.
Yep.
And they're still doing well.
Yep.
This is prior to these streaming channels I'm talking about with digital copies. What they used to call them ultraviolet copies, I think, in the beginning.
Yep.
Best Buy was all into that shit and they flunked. But
well, they were pricier than everybody else too.
Well, like I said, when we get ready for another real talk, it's going to all pretty much be about streaming and digital copies and the reported death of physical media, which will never die in my world. I won't let it die. Thanks to Scream Factory, Severin Films, Vinegar Effect, whatever they're called, Vinegar Syndrome.
Well, you better get your game up and running, brother, because we might do it next weekend.
Okay, I'll be, like I said, I tell everybody ahead of time, that's going to be our topic, is the whole.
Okay.
Because not Paramount, it was Warner Brothers, Discovery Warner just announced that the new Max thing has just lost like $1 billion or some crap, and they're really pissed off about it. This streaming is
why?
Why?
Because they went woke.
Warner Brothers ain't woke.
No, HBO Max people.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
Discovery is the most unwoke company in the business.
Okay.
You're making up shit now. Hey, we got a topic for a real talk, so there you go.
There you go, Jimbo.
With Jimbo, we're ready.
I ain't never making no topic, so don't ask me, fucker.
We don't want you to make a topic, but you're gonna go first always.
Oh, okay. I'll go first for sure. Get your
questions
ready. Get your questions ready, man.
But you're gonna sit here and tell me that or Discovery Warner's woke in the land of
not
Disney.
as woke as Netflix.
Or Disney's the worst, man.
Yeah.
I canceled Disney fucking Plus because I just couldn't deal with.
They're merging with somebody else now too. I heard. I forget who it was. I heard
Hulu, but they already own Hulu. They're gonna do what Paramount, just merged their Showtime into Paramount. Hulu's going to merge into Disney Plus. Discovery's merged Discovery Plus into HBO Max to form Max, and none of it is working. These fucking companies are losing their asses on streaming, and Netflix is about to raise prices again.
Yeah.
So something's about to give on this streaming shit. In the meantime, they're all trying to kill physical media. They ain't going to do it because I don't trust these companies. I want my goddamn physical media at this point. I got a lot of buying I'm going to have to do in the next year because I've been relying upon Vudu a lot here lately. And yeah, I'm about to buy Megan.
If you buy it, you can put it on Vudu.
I'm going to buy Megan next because I like that movie. That's the only Bloom film movie that's good is Megan.
Blum.
And of course, the famous Insidious. We may have to do Insidious one of these days.
Yeah, I've been trying to watch that new one that come out.
It's that David Gordon Green guy that fucks everything up. It's not perhaps Blumhouse. It's just him.
Yeah, we're rambling.
Let's go, dude.
All right.
Everybody join
Thanks for watching.
Social media, the YouTube page. Go like it and subscribe and
turn on your notifications. And please leave us if you listen on Apple, please leave us a review.
Nobody listens on Apple.
A lot the bullshit. That's where everybody listens.
Yeah, everybody's watching us on YouTube now.
I beg to differ. I look at that shit. A lot of people listen on Apple. So you just scroll down at the bottom of the episode and it gives you an option to rate and review.
Why don't you give away something again?
I know I need to give something away. What can we give away? I've been so broke. I ain't got nothing to buy to give anybody.
Well, nothing for tonight because the show is over. Stay evil. We'll see you at the midweek.
Stay evil, everybody.
Masters!
What do these things want, and why are they here?
You still don't get it, do you, boy?
They have recruited the rich and the powerful.
They're running the whole show.
Wake up! They're all about you, all around you. Blinded us to the truth.
Take a look. They are safe as long as they are not discovered.
I don't know what they are or where they came from, but we gotta stop them. Stay away from me. Put these on. They have us. Look at them. They're everywhere. Our owners.
We have no other choice.
I don't like this one bit.
Leave it alone, man. It ain't none of my business. Ain't none of yours. We have been lulled into a trance.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. We're in trouble. The whole world's in trouble. Control us! You're sending some kind of signals out of TV sets.
I've got one that can see.
Mama don't like tattletale.
Now we start spilling some blood. Let's go!
Push a button.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick. And I'm all out of bubblegum.